My name is Amara, this is my story. Of how all hell broke loose when I accepted Daniel's proposal. The moment he went down on one knee, my world should have begun. Instead, that moment started a war. A war I didn't know existed. A war that had been quietly waiting for me. And the woman who started it was the one person I thought would welcome me into her family. His mother. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the moment my life changed forever. The night Daniel proposed felt like something out of a movie. The restaurant overlooked the ocean. Soft piano music floated through the air. Candles flickered across the table between us. Daniel kept smiling at me in that way that always made my chest tighten. The way a man looks when he already knows his future. "Why are you staring at me like that?" I teased. He leaned back in his chair. "I'm just trying to remember this moment," he said softly. "Why?" "Because tonight, my life changes." I laughed. "Daniel, you're being dramatic." Then he stood up. My heart skipped. The entire restaurant suddenly grew quiet. He reached into his pocket. And then, he knelt. Gasps erupted around us. I covered my mouth. "Amara," he said, voice trembling. "You walked into my life when I wasn't even looking for love, and somehow you became the best part of it." Tears filled my eyes. "I don't want another day of my life without you." He opened the ring box. "Will you marry me?" The diamond caught the candlelight. For a moment I couldn't speak. All I could feel was my heart racing. Then I whispered, "Yes." The restaurant exploded with applause. Daniel slipped the ring onto my finger and pulled me into his arms. I thought that moment marked the beginning of my happily ever after. But I didn't know. Someone across the room was watching. And she looked furious. 2 days later Daniel said it was time. "You need to meet my mother." I smiled. "I've been waiting for this." He hesitated slightly. That should have been my first warning. But I ignored it. We drove to a massive house in a gated neighborhood. The place screamed old money. Tall white pillars. Perfectly manicured gardens. A fountain in the driveway. "This is your childhood home?" I asked. Daniel nodded. "My mother built this empire." Empire. Interesting word for a house. A maid opened the door. "She's expecting you," the maid said. Inside, the house smelled like expensive perfume and polished wood. Then she appeared. Victoria Lawson. Daniel's mother. Tall. Elegant. Impossibly composed. She wore a cream silk dress. Not a wrinkle anywhere. Her eyes scanned me slowly. From head to toe. Like a judge evaluating evidence. Daniel smiled. "Mom, this is Amara." Victoria extended her hand. Her smile looked perfect. Too perfect. "So this is the woman who captured my son's heart." I shook her hand. Her grip was cold. "I've heard so much about you," I said politely. Her smile widened slightly. "I'm sure you have." Something about the way she said that made my stomach tighten. But Daniel didn't notice. He wrapped his arm around me. "Mom, we're engaged." Silence filled the room. Just for a moment. Then Victoria clapped her hands lightly. "Well, congratulations." But something in her eyes didn't match her voice. And I felt it. Like a storm forming somewhere far away. Dinner that night felt strange. Victoria asked many questions. But none about love. Instead she asked things like, "What does your father do?" "My father passed away," I said quietly. "Oh." She sipped her wine. "And your mother?" "She runs a small grocery shop." Victoria nodded slowly. "How humble." Daniel frowned. "Mom. What? She said lightly. I'm just learning about my future daughter-in-law. Her eyes met mine again. Studying. Measuring. Judging. Then she asked the question that changed the mood completely. Amara, why do you want to marry my son? I blinked. Because I love him. Victoria tilted her head. Love. She smiled faintly. That's such a romantic answer. The way she said it made it sound like a childish lie. Daniel set down his fork. Mom. I'm simply saying, Victoria continued smoothly, marriage is also about compatibility. Values. Background. Family. Her gaze held mine. And stability. I felt the air grow heavy. I believe Daniel and I have all of those things, I said calmly. Victoria smiled again. Yes. But sometimes what people believe, and what is true, her voice softened, are very different things. That night when we left the house, I asked Daniel something. Does your mother like me? He hesitated. Then he said something I wish I had taken more seriously. She'll come around. Over the next few weeks. Victoria began appearing everywhere. Unexpected visits. Random phone calls. Unannounced dinners. At first, it seemed innocent. But slowly, I started noticing things. Subtle comments. Little digs disguised as advice. Like the afternoon she watched me help Daniel cook. She laughed softly. You know Daniel used to date a surgeon. Daniel groaned. Mom. What? I'm just saying. She turned to me. She had such an impressive career. Then she looked at my outfit. What exactly do you do again? I'm a graphic designer. Victoria nodded politely. How creative. That word again. Creative. But the way she said it sounded like unimportant. Small. Daniel squeezed my hand under the table. But I could feel the tension growing. And Victoria wasn't finished. 3 weeks later. Victoria hosted a family dinner. Extended relatives. Business partners. Friends. More than 30 people. And right in the middle of the evening, she raised her glass. I would like to welcome Daniel's fiancé. All eyes turned to me. Amara. People smiled politely. Victoria continued. Marriage is a serious commitment. She paused. Especially when two people come from very different worlds. Laughter rippled across the table. My chest tightened. She looked directly at me. Tell us, Amara, how did you meet Daniel? The way she asked it felt like a trap. But I answered honestly. At a charity event. Victoria smiled. Ah yes. Then she leaned slightly forward. And you just happened to meet the wealthiest bachelor in the room? The room went silent. My face burned. Daniel stood up. That's enough. Victoria lifted her hands innocently. Oh Daniel, don't be so sensitive. But the damage had already been done. And I saw something in her eyes that terrified me. Satisfaction. Later that night I went to the hallway bathroom to calm down. But when I stepped out, I heard voices down the corridor. Victoria's voice. And another woman. They were whispering. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. But then I heard my name. Daniel cannot marry her. My heart stopped. The other woman asked. Why not? Victoria's voice dropped to a whisper. Because if he does. A pause. Everything will come out. The other woman sounded confused. What do you mean? Victoria answered quietly. The truth about what happened 25 years ago. My breath caught. Then she said something that made my blood run cold. If Daniel marries that girl, he might discover who she really is. Silence. The other woman gasped. You mean? Victoria cut her off. Yes. And if that happens? Her voice hardened. Our entire family will be destroyed. My legs nearly gave out beneath me. Who I really am? What did that mean? And why did Daniel's mother sound terrified of the truth? I stood frozen in that hallway. Heart pounding. Mind racing. What did Victoria know about me? What secret was she hiding? And the worst question of all. Was my marriage about to uncover something no one wanted revealed? That night. For the first time. I wondered if marrying Daniel would destroy more lives than it saved. And the nightmare was only beginning. I thought the biggest obstacle to my wedding was Daniel's mother. Victoria Lawson. A woman who smiled in public, but sharpened knives in private. But the night I overheard her whisper about the truth of who I really am, something else began moving in the shadows. Someone from my past. Someone I prayed I would never see again. Because the man who returned to my life didn't come back for closure. He came back with a secret. A dangerous one. And he knew exactly how to use it. It happened on an ordinary Tuesday. I was leaving my design studio late in the evening. The streetlights had just turned on. My phone buzzed with a message from Daniel. Dinner tonight? I miss you. I smiled. Then I looked up. And my smile died. A man was leaning against a black car across the street. Watching me. My stomach dropped. Because I knew that posture. I knew that face. Even after 3 years. Even after everything. Hello, Amara. My chest tightened. Ethan. The name tasted bitter in my mouth. My ex-boyfriend. The man I had spent years trying to forget. Ethan pushed himself off the car and walked toward me. Same confident stride. Same charming smile. The smile that used to make my heart race. The smile that once destroyed me. What are you doing here? I asked coldly. He looked amused. That's how you greet an old friend? You're not my friend. He chuckled softly. You used to say different things. My hands trembled slightly. Say what you came to say. Ethan studied my face. Then his eyes drifted to the diamond ring on my finger. And his expression darkened. So it's true. What is? You're marrying him. The way he said him felt loaded. Yes, I said firmly. Daniel and I are getting married. Ethan's smile faded. That's a mistake. Anger flared inside me. You don't get to have opinions about my life anymore. He stepped closer. Close enough that I could smell his cologne. The same one he used to wear years ago. I'm not here to give opinions, he said quietly. I'm here to warn you. I crossed my arms. Warn me about what? Ethan looked around to make sure no one was listening. Then he leaned closer. Your fiancé's family. A chill ran through my body. What about them? Ethan's eyes sharpened. They're not who you think they are. My pulse quickened. You don't know them. Ethan laughed. Oh, Amara. I know them better than you do. Something inside me snapped. Stop playing games. Why are you here? His voice lowered. Because the moment you marry Daniel, everything changes. The words echoed in my mind. The exact same warning Victoria had whispered days earlier. My stomach twisted. What does that mean? Ethan watched me carefully. You really don't know. Know what? He shook his head slowly. Wow. Victoria really kept you in the dark. My heart slammed against my ribs. How do you know Daniel's mother? Ethan smiled. That's a long story. Then he said something that made my blood freeze. I've known Victoria Lawson for years. My mind raced. Daniel had told me his mother was extremely selective about the people she trusted. So how did Ethan know her? And more importantly, why did he sound like they were connected? I don't have time for this, I said, trying to leave. Ethan grabbed my wrist. Wait. Let go. Just look at something. He pulled out his phone, opened his gallery, and turned the screen toward me. My stomach dropped. The photo showed me. From years ago. Standing beside Ethan. But that wasn't the shocking part. Standing behind us, in the background, was Victoria Lawson. Watching us. My heart skipped. How is this possible? Ethan smiled slightly. This was taken 4 years ago. But you didn't meet Daniel until 3 years ago. Cold dread crept up my spine. Why was she there? Ethan's eyes locked onto mine. That's what you should be asking. That night I told Daniel about the encounter. At first he looked annoyed. Ethan is just trying to mess with you. But when I showed him the photo, his expression changed. Where did he get this? I don't know. Daniel zoomed in. His face went pale. That's my mother. Yes. Silence filled the room. Then Daniel asked something quietly. Did you know her before we met? What? Maybe you ran into her somewhere. No. Daniel rubbed his temples. This doesn't make sense. Exactly. For the first time, I saw doubt in his eyes. Not about his mother. About me. 3 days later Ethan called me. I need to see you. No. Then I'll send the photos to Daniel. My chest tightened. What photos? The rest of them. Ice ran through my veins. What are you talking about? Ethan laughed softly. Oh, Amara. You really don't remember that night? My mind raced. What night? The night everything changed. My stomach turned. I didn't like the sound of that. Against my better judgment, I met Ethan. A quiet cafe. Late evening. He slid an envelope across the table. Open it. My hand shook. Inside were several photographs. Old ones. From a party years ago. I stared at them in confusion. Then my eyes widened. In every photo, Victoria Lawson was there. Watching me. Watching Ethan. Watching everything. My voice trembled. Why was Daniel's mother following me? Ethan leaned back. Because she needed to keep an eye on you. Why? He leaned forward. His voice dropped to a whisper. Because of who you are. The words echoed like thunder in my chest. What does that mean? Ethan's expression turned serious. Amara. You weren't supposed to meet Daniel. My mind struggled to process his words. Why not? Ethan sighed. Because your lives were never meant to cross. Then Ethan dropped the bomb. Victoria hired me. The world went silent. What? Years ago. To get close to you. My heart stopped. That's impossible. Is it? He tapped the photos. You think it's coincidence she was at every party we attended? Every memory of my relationship with Ethan suddenly felt wrong. Manipulated. Fake. You're lying. Ethan shook his head. She needed someone to watch you. And I needed the money. My chest felt like it was collapsing. You used me? His voice softened. At first. Then things got complicated. I couldn't breathe. Why did she want someone watching me? Ethan hesitated. Then he said the words that shattered my world. Because you were never supposed to find out the truth. When Daniel discovered I had secretly met Ethan, everything exploded. You promised me you cut him out of your life. I did. Then why are you meeting him again? Because he's threatening me. Daniel slammed his fist on the table. With what? I hesitated. And that hesitation destroyed everything. Daniel's voice hardened. What aren't you telling me? Tears filled my eyes. I'm trying to protect you. From what? Before I could answer, Daniel said something that broke my heart. Maybe my mother was right about you. Silence. Heavy. Painful. You think I'm lying? I think something isn't right. That night, Daniel left. And for the first time, our wedding felt like it might actually collapse. 2 days later, Ethan called again. His voice sounded different. Urgent. Amara, listen carefully. What? You need to cancel the wedding. Why? Because Victoria isn't just trying to stop it. My stomach twisted. What do you mean? Then he said the words that changed everything. She's trying to stop it because if you marry Daniel, the hospital blood test will expose the truth. My heart skipped. What blood test? The premarital one. Ice filled my veins. What truth? Ethan whispered. The truth about who your real family is. Silence. Then the final bomb dropped. Amara. Victoria Lawson is terrified because the test might prove something impossible. What? His voice dropped to a whisper. That you and Daniel might be related. My entire world went black. The moment Ethan said the words, you and Daniel might be related, the ground beneath my life cracked open. I wanted to believe he was lying. I needed to believe it. Because if he wasn't, then everything about my life, my past, my love story, was built on a secret no one wanted revealed. And suddenly, Daniel's mother made perfect sense. Her cold smiles. Her constant interference. Her desperate attempts to stop the wedding. Because if what Ethan said was true, the wedding wouldn't just destroy a relationship. It would expose a scandal powerful enough to destroy an entire family. And the terrifying part? The answer was waiting for us at the hospital. In a simple premarital blood test. Daniel didn't speak during the drive. Not once. The tension between us felt suffocating. Finally, I broke the silence. Do you actually believe Ethan? Daniel kept his eyes on the road. I don't know what to believe anymore. The words sliced through me. So you think I've been lying to you? I think something is wrong. His voice sounded tired. And no one is telling the truth. The hospital building came into view. Bright white. Cold. Unforgiving. As we stepped inside, my heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear my own thoughts. A nurse called our names. Amara Mensah and Daniel Lawson? We stood. Followed her down a long corridor. And something inside me whispered. This test will change everything. Neither of us knew that before the day ended, one of us would question our entire identity. The doctor was calm. Professional. Unaware of the emotional bomb about to explode in that room. Premarital blood compatibility screening, he said. Routine procedure. He prepared 2 syringes. Just a small sample from both of you. Daniel rolled up his sleeve first. I watched the needle pierce his skin. Dark red blood filled the vial. Then it was my turn. As the nurse tied the band around my arm, my hands trembled. Relax, she said gently. If only you knew what this test might reveal, I whispered. The nurse frowned. What? Nothing. The needle slid into my vein. The vial slowly filled. And just like that, our fate sat in 2 small tubes of blood. The results would take a few hours. Daniel and I sat in the hospital cafeteria. Neither of us touched our food. Finally he spoke. My mother warned me. My chest tightened. What did she say? That you weren't who you claimed to be. Pain surged through me. You believe her? I don't want to. But the more secrets appear, the harder it becomes not to. I wiped a tear from my cheek. You think I tricked you into loving me? Daniel sighed. I think someone is hiding something. His eyes searched my face. Tell me the truth, Amara. I already have. And that was the terrifying part. Because I truly didn't know what truth everyone else seemed to know. 3 hours later, the doctor called us back into his office. He looked confused, which was never a good sign. He adjusted his glasses. There seems to be a complication. My pulse raced. What kind of complication? The doctor cleared his throat. Your blood types. Daniel leaned forward. What about them? The doctor hesitated. They suggest a genetic possibility we cannot ignore. My throat tightened. What possibility? The doctor looked directly at us. You may share a close biological connection. The room spun. Daniel stood up instantly. That's impossible. The doctor raised his hands calmly. I'm not making accusations. I'm saying the test results raise serious questions. My voice shook. What kind of connection? He said the word slowly. Potentially, siblings. The silence that followed felt like the universe collapsing. Daniel staggered backward. No. This isn't real. I felt like I couldn't breathe. That's not possible. The doctor spoke carefully. It doesn't confirm anything. But it suggests further DNA testing is necessary. Daniel's face turned pale. My mother. He whispered. She knew. Tears streamed down my face. That's why she tried to stop the wedding. My heart shattered. The man I loved. The man I was about to marry. Might be my brother.